up and sit down.
Howdy guys, it's Andy from Bigmeks Workshop and Painting Studio, and we're doing something a little bit different. We're finally getting around to sorting out our terrain, what we've been donated. Thank you, Afol. It's awesome stuff. So I'm going to do a little bit of a kind of product review, and then we're going to go into the tutorial of how I did it. Now this stuff is by Pegasus Hobbies, and this particular one is the Gothic set, City Ruins #1, and we were donated very kindly 4 separate boxes of this stuff, and each box is crammed with detail and also loads of different bits. So we've already built 6 pieces, and we've got 5 pieces, and we've got enough spares to make another decent one as well. It's also really interesting because it's quite tough. Well, I'll say quite, it's very tough. So if you want to chop any bits out, you're going to need a razor saw and a decent pair of tweezers, snips, a nice durable pair, because this stuff's really thick, so it's very well durable. It's also quite modular. It interlocks with each other, so you can snap it in, make it once it's all painted. It doesn't have to it doesn't have to be glued together because it's really resilient, and it just locks in place like that. Dead easy. You can also build it upwards with the same sort of locking system, and it just locks into place like so. Obviously certain areas it's going to be tougher because it's got extra locking nuts on the top. Certain areas you're going to need to build extra walls in. You also get some really cool sort of archways, and depending on the set, your archways, big ones and also smaller archways as well. So you can make like little corridors, comes with doorways. Also got loads of little gargoyles and little extra detail on as well. And it's got these, the add-on pack also comes with hole fillers to fill in any of the gaps on the walls where you're not using an additional wall section to go into it. So, I'll give you a quick heads up of what I've done. This is an unfinished one. This is one of the prototype ideas. As you can see, it comes with the tower points, and it's not glued together. This it's just a baseline of a minute. I'll show you one of the painted ones as well before we get into the tutorial. But as you can see, you get loads of variation. With these 4 kits, you get a lot of stuff what you can work with. Here's one what we've painted up. There you go. As you can see, it's all glued in now. You get loads of cool details, as you can see there. Like it's got this cool smashed up window. There's also many archways. We made it into a little like a alleyway or something. And here's another one we've painted up as well. Same sort of configuration, just a different sort of setup. So we're making a kind of a Sisters of Battle monastery, sort of very imperial, which is why I've added the grotesques and such, and that's another sort of chantry entryway. You know, so you can get some really cool designs out of this quite easily. And if you've got access to a decent razor saw or and a decent pair of snips, you can hack away at certain areas just to add a little bit more variety to the shapes. And all it takes is a little bit of effort. The quality of the detail on this is great. It's really good stuff. I'd rate it very highly. On a price point, it's a little bit cheaper than Games Workshop stuff. One of these boxes costs around about £20 for what can probably make 2 good terrain pieces, compared to GW's £20 for one. So it is quite a bit cheaper, and the build quality I can't fault. The casting is great, plenty of detail, and nice and easy to paint as well. So there you go. that's a quick chat about it, and now we're going to go into the painting on exactly what I did, how you can recreate it, because it's dead easy to paint terrain well, whilst keeping it quick. And that's the thing with terrain, you don't have to go over the top to make a nice battlefield. Without you don't have to go over the top with the effort. You can get a nice looking battlefield just with some basic simple techniques and a little bit of creativity. So I'll see you in a minute. Army Painter's Necromancer Cloak, which is something along the lines of sort of a mid-tone grey, so maybe Eshin grey, something along that. And I'm getting a nice coat over the entire thing. Now this is dead easy. There's a really quick method of painting terrain, and this really does work well with this particular method. And so we're getting a good coat of the base, and you'll find you actually spend more time waiting for it to dry than you do actually painting. So if you're doing this, either do a bunch of it all at once or find something else to do as well, because you will spend a lot of time waiting for stuff to happen and waiting for stuff to dry, so just beware. So once I've got our first coat down, got a nice full coat over the entirety of the thing. This is a mix of Army Paint Strong Tone or Agrax Earthcrete and some airbrush thinners. And as you can see, I'm using a massive brush. Now this is where it starts to take a while, because once you've got a decent dry coat on it, you just lathering this stuff all over it. You don't want to leave any pull in it if you can, but which is why I've put the thinners in. So it helps it to move around a little bit, and you want a good quality coat over the entirety of the thing. Leave no edges or no little details clean of the stuff. You want as much of it a good coverage as possible, and this will just pick out all the detail in the brickwork and any of the little nooks and crannies will really get exaggerated by the wash. So just take your time, get it right, and make sure you thinned it down. So after what felt like an eternity, I've got wash on the model, and I'm using a ash grey as a dry brush. This is a nice soft brush. If you've got access to one, you want and your other half will let you steal a blusher brush. A much better effect, because you can do the dry brush in circles. I'm using ash grey, which is about the same sort of colour as Dawnstone, maybe a little bit lighter. And if you've got a circular brush, do the dry brush in a circular manner, first to the right, then to the left, or vice versa, and that'll pick up all the dead edges, and it's a lot quicker. So yeah, using a nice soft makeup brush is the best way of doing this. I just don't happen to have one. Not available to me at the minute anyway. I'm gonna have to start nicking some makeup brushes off my wife, but I'm sure she'll slap me for that. So now, as you can see, you're starting to pick up all the detail with this dry brushing. As I said, this is dead easy. Painting terrain to a decent level is so easy, it's unreal. So once that wash has gone down, I'm starting to paint out some of the detail work. Now I'm using Vallejo Game Air's Rust here. Now this is a real nice bronzy colour. Hashed copper has worked just as well, and it's just to break up some of that details, because we've got some really nice stained glass window sort of effects. So all the windows, all the window pane type things getting painted up in this colour, even the tower points as well. And this is just to break up that flat grey, add a few colours into it here and there. Once you've got the extra detail work, it really does start to help. And you just need to the trick with painting is trick with painting terrain is just throwing a few extra colours in there, just to break up these big flat grey or brown sections, and it just makes it look a lot nicer. So once we've got the stonework up to this level, we've put down a dry brush and pick up a regular brush again. And we're going to start working on the detail work, the lintels, the windowsills, the window pane sort of things. Any of the stuff that would potentially be metal. And we're going to break this up with rust. This is quite an orangey colour, as you can see. It's really good coverage. And I'm using a fairly large brush at this stage because it's quite time consuming. But it's going to break up those flat greys really nicely. So you just want anything that was just going to stand out a little bit and give you a lot of nice vibrant colour. And it's going to really sort of make the building sections look a lot more interesting. So you get a nice coverage of this on there, and it's really going to help. Because it's all, like I said before, it's all about breaking up the colours, just making it a little bit more interesting. I'm also going to paint this, the little tower points as well in the same colour. So I'm not using too many colours on this, because I'm keeping it really simple. After the rust, I'm using the Leo's model colour Red Leather. Now this is kind of a terracotta colour, so we've got like a clay effect roof slates. Again, just to break up those flat colours, and I'm going around all the roof like sections. Any of the sections, what you know, wouldn't necessarily be the same colour as the flat greys. If you wanted to go for a more lead-lined roof, you'd use a dark grey, maybe something like a black, to get the same effect. And the reason I'm using this colour though is because we're going to go over everything at the end with some washes, and this allows us to use the same wash across everything. Onto the door, and I'm using Rhinox hide. Again, nice big brush. This is a medium brush. If I'd had access to a bigger brush that wasn't absolutely enormous, I'd have been using that instead. And Rhinox hide is a nice, good, solid wood effect colour, and I'm just getting a good quality coat over this. And this is going to go on before we do any more work, so all the final highlights and all the washes can go over everything all at the same time, and you're going to get a really good effect across the entirety of the model. Everything's dried now, and I'm using burnt umber. As we've said before, burnt umber has a tendency of fixing everything, and this is a burnt umber wash by Army Painter, which I've thinned right down. As you can see, I'm using an absolutely massive brush, and I'm just layering it on there. I'm not being too picky. I want a good coverage over everything. Because I've thinned it right down, you can be quite heavy-handed with this, so you can get a nice liberal coverage. And what this is going to do, again, it's going to pick out all the detail just like the earlier wash did, but we're going to bring it all together in a minute with the final effect. And what that's going to do is just tie everything together. As you can see, burnt umber is a really nice dirty colour when thinned down to a wash, so you're going to get a really good effect. And this is going to go over everything what isn't the metal work. Once the burnt umber's dried, which felt like an eternity because these are really thin down washes, it takes a long time, I'm going on to the metalwork now, and this is a made up wash of Caribbean Blue by Scale 75. Any kind of turquoise type colour will work. This is just going to make it look like an oxidised copper, just to add an extra bit of detail to any of the metalwork. It really does help. As you can see, massive brush, really liberal. This is quite thin down. Now, if you've got any toilet tissue to hand, then blot it as well, so you don't get any real pooling. Just gets rid of any of the excess areas of too much wash. And but if you don't want to blot it, that's totally fine. I'm not going to blot this. Possibly should have done. I don't know. I like the effect what it gives at the end anyway, without any blotting. But just get a really liberal coat on there, and it's going to take a little while to dry, so you're going to need something else to do whilst you're waiting. And this is where it comes together. This is the effect what I was taught by the guy who does the GW terrain, and this is Screaming Skull. I'm using a dry brush of Screaming Skull over everything, being not particularly accurate. We're actually just going straight over the top of everything, because the cool thing about terrain, when you use Screaming Skull, you can highlight absolutely any colour. Doesn't matter whether it's black, white, silver, gold. Screaming Skull will highlight everything, and you're using the same technique as I used at the beginning, the circular technique. Again, if you've got access to something like a blusher brush or any kind of round brush, you're better off, because this gets a really good effect and it's done so easily. It's like kind of witchcraft. So what you'll get is a very cool looking bit of terrain with absolutely no effort. So as we work on those dry brushes, using the circular motion, you're picking up all the angles from all the different directions. And once you've gone like from right to left, reverse it so you get the other sides, and there you go. You get a really cool looking bit of terrain, and it's super easy. So all the terrain we've been donated. No. All the terrain we've been donated is going to be done in the same method. So this is a slightly different piece, what we could actually fit on the road on the Lazy Susan, but it's all the same stuff, done exactly the same way. And as you can see, you get a really good effect from little to no effort. So anyone can do this and get a decent bit of battlefield terrain nice and quickly. So there you go. That's a quick terrain video for you. Really enjoyed doing this. It was a lot of playing around, doing different techniques. What I don't use a lot, like dry brushing. I very rarely do any dry brushing, as generally speaking I don't like the effect, but it has its uses, and it's at the right opportunity it is a very good effect. So obviously, got some thank yous to make. So huge thank yous to you guys for watching this and sticking through our videos. It is all massively appreciated, and obviously, please hit like, share with your friends, and do all that good stuff. Massive thank yous to our Patreons, and in particular, our top paying Patrons, which are the Oak Boys, Matt, Ludwig Goffbauer, D-Wack, Mark, Dave and Tom. So huge thank yous to you guys. You're our top paying Patrons, and without you guys we wouldn't be able to do any of this, because you so if you're interested in checking out Patreon, we have a site, it's in the link description. It just helps keep the lights on and helps us get extra models for you to enjoy watching our videos, and obviously gives you automatic access to our competitions every month. Secondly, massive thank yous to the Outpost. They're our affiliate link, and if you check the link in the description, if you ever use the Outpost, it's a Sheffield-based company, really good guys. You get 15 to 20% off any of your hobby products what you want, and if you use the links in our descriptions, we get 5% store credit at no cost to you. So again, it also assists us getting any additional figures and equipment we need to keep on the tutorials and the videos coming for you guys. So every little helps. In any way, thank you for watching this one, guys. A lot of fun for me to do this, even though I had to shoot it twice, as things went a bit haywire for me. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ta-ra!